Okay, greetings, drum corps fans. Welcome to the preview show, post show. Yeah, we just watched the Flow Marching live stream of Muncie, Indiana show, which featured the Cavaliers, the Phantom Regiment, and Carolina Crown. So we just wanted to come on here and do a quick recap of what I thought about what we saw and heard. It's definitely early season. You can see that in the shows. Obviously, there's definitely room for changes and growth, and also like some of the transitions musically. With some of the shows, you can tell are in the early stages, right? So anyway, let's get to some of the notes. I made some notes along the way. I'm sorry to be, I'm kind of reading them off of here, but that's just the way it's going to have to be. Yeah, I can't memorize everything. So overall, a great showing from all three corps. I think they all had definitely some strengths and definitely had some areas that you can say, okay, well, they got to work on that a little bit, right? Whatever the thing is, whether it's a prop thing, whether it's a show thing, whatever might be. And again, I'm just going to highlight here at this moment that most of my comments are really going to be musical based because that's kind of what it is. I'm a former, or I guess I could technically still play brass, but I haven't in years as a trumpet player. But anyway, so we're gonna, you'll see a lot of I guess you could say notes or commentary is really what I'm trying to say, is going to be musical related. So for the Cavaliers, actually, a very cool opening right from the start. They're off on side two in kind of a circle formation, and then they really take their time to build that up. And they, pretty large spread for the brass line shortly as they're kind of building out of that circle form. And then we see kind of a little more of a reveal of half circle props. And you see some of them off to side one along the sideline. And these props are really cool since I'm on the topic of the Cavaliers props this year because they are basically half circle pieces, but they, of course, can bring them together to make a full circle. They can turn them up on end and roll them and lay them flat and stand on them. So they're very versatile. And I think they'll probably even do more than what they're doing currently with them. So it's nice to see props that are actually, not only look cool, but actually have a function and actually move and do stuff, right? So a lot of people would reference last year's Phantom Regiment show, Mind, right, with the cages. So they had a really good basic look to them, but they also were used and moved around throughout the field. But that's last year, of course. One point of, kind of just personal taste thing. I understand the trends come and go about stuff, and right now it seems like most corps, again, they don't have like a corps proper like the traditional uniforms, and that's fine. I mean, we're sort of getting used to that now, but really all of them seem to what I call feature waist capes, right? So some kind of something that hangs material of some sort from their waist down to about probably their knee. The Cavaliers definitely have that with the drum line, the pit, and the horn line have that, and then the color guard don't. I for a look that the color guard the corps has this year, the Cavaliers for a uniform, very form fitting and tight, kind of through it, almost like a jumpsuit style. I think that kind of loose material on top of that doesn't look quite right to me. But I'll be very curious to see what it would look like without them. But I think they're going to have them all season long because, as I say, it seems to be kind of a trend, and that's kind of if I want to be old man yells at clouds for a minute, that's kind of a thing I've always say is, just because one or two or five corps do it doesn't mean 10 or 15 or 18 corps have to do it, right? So anyway, overall, again, really nice. Something that really stuck out right away was an incredibly beautiful and talented baritone soloist. Really good. I look very forward to hearing this person in live while seeing a show from them because an excellent player and not even one shred of nerves here on opening night. So that's always cool to see. Definitely cool. Some really nice pit features too along the way, which from the Cavaliers, that's no surprise, right? So yeah, nice to see that as well. and also the color guard also had some very choice moments at the beginning. They looked to be made a good opening statement. I know I'm kind of bouncing around here. Um, a small point and funny point of disappointment is the bando crowd, which it kind of is because it's some sort of, I guess a Yamaha. I think it is a sponsored event with marching bands and such, which is cool. I have nothing against that, but they definitely didn't know the classic Cavalier, off the field bass drum cadence and to clap along with that. Which honestly, even in Lucas Oil, a lot of people don't clap like they used to. So I'm always one to get the crowd going. But anyway, overall, I think Cavaliers. Again, it's very early to tell. Really, San Antonio is a great checkpoint as far as placement wise, where you think cores may finish. Right, you can kind of get an idea who's in whose neighborhood. Right now, it's kind of hard to tell. But I think tonight with the Cavaliers, Phantom, and Crown, I think you can see three different levels, in my personal opinion. Right. So with Cavaliers, I think they're looking definitely like they'll be in the back half of the top 12, somewhere in there, probably 7 through 12, somewhere in there. They finished 11th last season in 2024. So if they finished 7th, I think that would be considered a pretty good jump in 1 year. So again, that's where I expect to see them land. The show overall, it's interesting, intriguing, and I'm a fan. So we'll see how it progresses. Now let's move into Phantom Regiment here. Um, Obviously, the core is hidden behind these curvy curtains all the way across from goal line to goal line, right at the very start. Um, and right at the start, I noticed that the color guard kept getting my attention. They were just really doing a good job, and I don't know if it was the staging or whether it was just they were having a good night or whatever, but it seemed like they're really strong, which is awesome. Um, and yeah, it's a really good to see that. So as far as the curtain props, I mean, at times the wind gets a good grab of them. I think if there were maybe bigger pieces and not so many separate pieces, it may work a little better. They can certainly make a change to them. I'm sure they will make some changes to it. Mark my word, or make a note of it here, that they'll make some changes to those props as the season progresses. Obviously, they're going to be looking and acting different when you're in the dome environment, i.e., San Antonio or, of course, Lucas Oil at the end of the year. But overall, I think it's an interesting idea. They move them around. They're in a kind of a curved S-curve shape. So it makes a very interesting aesthetic as they're going through the show. Overall, the brass line, what you would expect from Phantom, very strong mellophones for sure. That's a JD Shaw, obviously, trademark, having been a mellophone dude himself. If you've never seen him in action as a soloist, go check out 1991 Phantom Regiment. Great soloist and great solo he had to play that year. But anyway, getting back to 2025. So what's some other things I wrote? Also, I can see that they are kind of in a, you can tell between them and the Cavaliers in kind of state competition there in Illinois. They're definitely ahead of the Cavaliers, right? You can just kind of see they're more confident, more mature as a core at this moment. So, whether Cavaliers kind of catch up to them a little bit, I don't know. But really, I'm thinking that, you can see they're in a different level of a cluster of cores than the Cavaliers are at the moment. Amazing flugelhorn soloist this year from the Phantom Regiment. Absolutely beautiful. Going to be a pleasure to hear them as well. That's one thing I really like about a lot of DCI cores is they have an amazing selection of soloists. They're just so good. Obviously, I would think most of them are music majors, and that's the kind of quality we get to listen to, and it's quite amazing and quite joyful to the ears for sure. Ballad overall from Phantom, I was critical of their ballad. I think it was beautiful last year, but just a bit short. And this year's ballad, I don't know. I definitely need to go back and hear it again because it was pretty. It was nice. I like the fact that this overall theme of the Phantom show was not a dark theme or feel to it. Is more lighter, brighter feel, literally lighter and brighter with the color palette and with the sound palette. So yeah, I'll have to see again. First read, it's always hard, but yeah, I'm hoping that maybe they'll make a few small changes to the ballot, and maybe I'll come around to it. Okay, finally, Carolina Crown. I don't want to hold on here and drag on too long and chin wag for too long. So Carolina Crown. Opening strains played backfield by the horn line. I really hope they keep that in Lucas Oil. That's going to sound absolutely spectacular. Just a beautiful, beautiful sound. And then they take no time at all to get right into their opening statement. And interestingly enough, in the opening statement between the brass and percussion, there was a bit of phasing, which is pretty much the timing, right? Was not all locked in. And I was a bit surprised by that. And you know why it was really stood out is that's usually Crown doesn't have that issue, right? Even in the early season. So it definitely stood out to me. But it actually happened several times throughout the show that the percussion and brass line were not on the same page. They may have just had a rough run of it, maybe. Who knows? That it does happen occasionally, or just maybe, early season, trials and tribulations they need to get over, right? But I think that's a good thing because you don't want to be too clean too fast. And I think they'll be making some changes to the show. And along with cleaning it up, it should really put this show in that top caliber of cores. Definitely ahead of Phantom, in my opinion. Again, that's just my opinion as of this date. Just the overall maturity of the brass and actually the color guard. Last year, I don't know, maybe we're a little sleeping on their Carolina Crown's color guard, but this season they're definitely look like as good as last year's guard, and last year's guard was awesome. Go back and check it out if you didn't really pick up on that in 2024. Carolina Crown's guard was amazing. So let's see, lots of, as I said, lots of cleaning to do yet for them, and definitely room to grow and tighten things up. And I think they'll put some changes in. The props are really cool looking. I think they're going to probably do more with them. They're definitely movable, and they can put them kind of anywhere they really want to, if you think about it. So I think they will probably do that. Uniform wise, not bad. It looks pretty good overall. So the hat is okay. Maybe they could have done a little better job with make it a little more I guess you could say sturdy, but overall looks pretty good. And those kind of things you kind of have to see in person. So thank you if you're tuning in, checking this out. We're going to basically, this is being done live right after the flow marching stream. I'm going right now to take about a 5-minute break and then going to join up the other flow marching stream here, which is going to feature the Santa Clara Vanguard and the Colombians, which is going to be super cool to see that. But yeah, definitely stay tuned to these kind of pre and post shows for a good handful of flow events this summer. Excuse me. Basically, I'll be here again doing a pre-show and a post show for tomorrow night, which is obviously June 28th, and Drums Along the Rockies. So definitely tune in. It would be 8:30 Eastern time when I'll be doing the pre-show, and then 9 p.m. Eastern time is when the show actually starts. So that's it for now, Drum Corps fans. Hope you enjoyed this. Just a very start of things. We got so much more, obviously, to look forward to, but it's so awesome when we see the first night of Drum Corps because, now the ball's rolling and it just gets better from here, as you know. So thanks again for tuning in, and have a good night.